the back muscle groups are mostly comprised of slow twitch muscle fibers. The lats, for example, are about 45% fast twitch muscle fibers and 55% slow twitch muscle fibers. In comparison to the triceps, they are a more explosive, a stronger muscle group. In relative terms, they are a fast twitch muscle group, mostly about 60-40, that's the ratio. And it is often discussed whether you should train muscle groups with a different repetition range depending on the fast to slow twitch muscle fiber ratio. So the back you would train with a higher repetition range because the fibers will respond better to higher time under tension, longer time under tension, as compared to the triceps and the chest or the hamstring, which are faster, mostly fast twitch muscle fibers, where maybe you should train them more explosively, heavier, lower repetition ranges, shorter time under tension. That's one discussion. I am not sure whether you should train the back, which is the discussion of today's video, the back with higher repetition range. I know it feels better for me. I know it certainly feels better to train the back with a higher repetition range. It feels better, and usually when it feels better for me, it pinpoints on a connection. So at that point, I'm highly intuitive with what works for me, and some of you might be as well. And I know that it signifies something good. So it might be the fast to slow twitch muscle fiber, but also it might be the strength curve. So in chin-ups you might, in pull-ups as well, and one-arm chin-up, maybe you notice that you are very strong. Most people are extremely strong in the bottom half, the bottom 2/3 of the range of motion, where the lats are more engaged, a big muscle group, which helps the movement. And at the third top range of motion, the lockout, it gets extremely, considerably harder than the rest of the range of motion. So it's relatively easier, and then at the end it becomes very, very, very difficult at the top, and you have no place to go. It feels like whenever the speed stalls, you are stuck. You can't grind. Whereas let's say you take a push-up or you take a dip, for example, you can grind the rep slowly. It's less steep. Okay, the difference, the fluctuation in difficulty, the strength curve is more gradual. So it is not as difficult in one part of the range of motion. So it might be that I can really tax the muscle group, and using different repetition ranges with relatively higher rep range. Whereas if I do one rep, I can't exert myself. It's either easy or hard, and I can't move. On dips, I can do a very, very hard set of single and feel like I can fully exert myself. So I don't know, it might be a combination of both, but for me, I know that often the higher rep sets feel better for my back, and that's the discussion for today's video. And I want to give you 3 variations of pull-ups and chin-ups that you can do that are not one-arm chin-up or extremely heavy weighted chin-ups. You can do with just body weight, calisthenics variation for the chin-up and pull-ups. Those variations have been used for decades successfully for strongmen, for bodybuilders, for just strength athletes all across. So the first variation, and you can build volume with them. The first variation is the subscapularis pull-up. Let me demonstrate. So the subscapularis pull-up is an exercise that puts more emphasis in the back, the lower traps, the rhomboids, mainly the lower traps, almost like a front lever pull at the bottom. You pull yourself up to the top range of motion, you hold for a second, you make sure that you arrive at the top range of motion, and then you push yourself back and then reach bottom of the pull-up in a passive hang. So I imagine, so I'm here at the top, imagine I'm here at the top. I want to first lock the elbows and then lock the shoulders. Okay, like that. Push myself away, lock the elbows, and then lock the shoulders. That's what I'm imagining. It helps me execute the exercise. And you will feel your lats, you will feel your lower traps at the bottom. A great variation. You can build volume using that variation of the pull-up. You don't have to do 1-2 repetition, just let's say like the weighted dips or the overhead press or plunge holds, which can really, they can really work well with lower repetition ranges, short duration holds or short time under tension, and you don't really have to program all your exercises the same fashion. 3 sets of 5 to 8 repetitions for the pushing exercises and for the pulling exercises and for the leg exercises. You can, depending on the lift, you can make it different. Okay, you can do the pushing movements, lower repetition ranges. You can do the pulling movements like the back, higher repetition ranges. It doesn't have to be all the way across the same. That's how I actually superset my workouts now. So I do weighted dips, maybe set of 3 repetitions, but then I superset with sets of 10 on the pull-up or sets of 15 on the bodyweight rows. And I do the same with planche, and I do the same with barbell overhead press. So I superset them and it feels great. Subscapularis pull-up, that's the first version. The second one is sternum chin-up. So you go shoulder width grip, it's narrower than the previous variation, and you try to expose the chest towards the ceiling, and then you pull. It's called the sternum chin-up because you want to touch the bar with the lower part of the sternum. So that's the sternum, right? You will touch here, lower part of the sternum, as opposed to, let's say, full range chin-up, where it will be clavicle. Okay? Let's do a few reps of that, sternum chin-up. What I like about the sternum chin-up is that it precisely signifies whether the repetition was successful or not. By touching, it gives you a physical feedback if you complete the repetition or not. And you can build volume with the sternum chin-up. Imagine how strong your back will be, taking yourself from only 3 sets of 3 to 3 sets of 10. Before you even add load, let me guarantee you, the minute you have 3 sets of 10 with the sternum chin-up, you'll have 50% additional of your body weight with the weighted chin-up for a single, guaranteed, okay? You don't have to add load, you don't have to do 1-arm chin-ups, high repetition. I like high repetition. You know, it's like old school calisthenics, okay? So that's the second variation. The third one, not to be mistaken with the sternum chin-up, is just a chest to bar pull-up. So golden era bodybuilders, Serge Nubre, Refael Colombo, and so on, they mostly performed chin-ups and pull-ups as their back exercise. They didn't do a lot of machines and rows and stuff like that. Maybe their back workout to fully develop the back were strength athletes predominantly. Okay, some of you are maybe primarily interested in hypertrophy, which is great. But it doesn't really have to say, I don't want to look like a bodybuilder. That's not the point. They target the back completely using just pull-up and chin-up, higher rep sets, 5 sets of 10 to 20 chin-ups, and then they will go to perform 5 sets of 10 to 20 pull-ups. That's the back workout. That's insane, right? So they would do that and they will not add load. Franco Colombo once said, do not add load. If you don't have 5 sets of 10 chest to bar, you should touch the clavicle or the upper chest with the bar. Don't add weight to chin-ups or pull-ups if you don't have 5 sets of 10 with that variation. You haven't earned the right to put more weight on you. And that completely makes sense, right? Why make things harder, not harder in the sense, more complex, more logistic, adding weight, taking weight to the park if you're training outdoors. Why not use, the advantage of doing just bodyweight stuff and making things as simple as you can? So you really don't have to. Up to the point that you have 5 sets of 10, don't worry about doing weighted pull-ups or weighted chin-ups or one-arm chin-ups. Let me demonstrate. I hope I don't hit the mic. Wide grip. Again, just like the sternum chin-up, you have to touch the upper chest or the clavicle with the bar, unless if you don't do that, the repetition is not successful. That's a good thing. It gives a clear indication. So whenever you are training, you don't have that gray area. Let's say you're performing just pull-ups and the chin is barely over the bar, but let's say you call it a successful repetition, then the quality of practice reduces. You know that gray area that I'm talking about. You make the weight or the repetitions the goal and not the quality of practice, and actually something that promotes your goals, which is back strength or development. Not every repetition necessarily is a great repetition if it wasn't, in a certain range of motion or speed or technique. So those are 3 variations that you can take, starting from lower reps, whatever reps you have within you right now, and you can build towards 3 sets of 10, 5 sets of 10 without worrying about weighted chin-ups, weighted pull-ups, one-arm chin-ups, low repetition work with the back. For me, it feels better, higher rep work. That's how I program for myself now. I perform with the barbell press, with the weighted dips, with the plunge, and then I complement that with high rep back rows, chin-ups, pull-ups, and I do it in a way that I superset. So it's, let's say, planche holds, short planche holds, 30 seconds rest, high rep pull-up, and then a full rest interval of maybe, let's say, 3 to 5 minutes, and then I repeat the superset again. And that's how I structure my training right now. And try it. Let me know if it feels better for you, high repetition as opposed to low repetition with the back muscles, with the pulling exercises. Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to get strong and jacked, there's a new training program, weighted calisthenics and barbell strength training program, hybrid strength, link in the description. If you want to get strong and jacked, that's the program for you. If you want to gain general strength, that's the program for you. Check it out, link in the description. See you next time.